What's up, Matt from Urchfab. Today I'm carrying on with the flat sheet steel bike frame. I've got all these rear sections all tacked in place now, and I've done a couple of little changes which I'll show you. So this rear section, I made these plates to sit on the inside, which come up over this piece and past the join here, and just tie all that in together. And then I just sort of welded these, ground the bevel on them, welded them, and then ground them flat. I've also changed this bottom plate. Wanted to cut some more material out of it. I didn't really like how it wasn't symmetrical when you look down from the side of the bike. So what's left to do now in terms of before I can fully weld this is I need to make some brackets to attach these two points to the frame. So I'm going to have a piece of tube coming out of there with a bolt in the end on both of these, coming out to the level of this, and then just a little tab on each side. So we'll have four little plasma cut brackets that will bolt to this bit of the frame. And then once I've got that in, I'm going to weld the whole frame, and then we can cut it off of the jig and then weld the last little bits we need to do sort of from underneath and stuff like that. The common opinion in the comments is that this bike's just going to be too heavy to even ride, or that the frame's going to weigh 5 times the weight of the factory frame. This bike, when it came out of the factory, was nearly 200 kilograms. So it was a massive heavy bike from the factory. Obviously this design of frame is going to be a bit heavier than the original, but it's really not going to be that much heavier. So if you factor in how much of the original bike isn't going back onto this when it's finished, this is going to be a very stripped down bike with not much on it. I would bet that this bike finish will still come in under the weight of the factory bike when it left the factory, on the factory at 200 kilograms. But first thing I'm going to do is make some little bits, make these up on the lathe, turn some bar down, put thread in the end, bolts, and then we can plasma cut some little brackets. So that one's going to sit like that, bracket from there to there, either side. This one's for the back here. So now I just need to get these sat nice and square, measure across, and then cut some little tabs for these. Just run out of gas. Lucky for me, I was prepared for the lockdown. Remember when lifting heavy bottles to always lift with the spine. You always want to make sure you got something behind the welder, because there's nothing worse than you lift it up and then the welder scoots off. This is what she looks like underneath. So I just need to do a couple of stitch welds underneath. Weld up those two slots. Time for the weigh-in. I'm going to say it's about 5 kilograms heavier. $24.3 for that one. $17.6 for that one. 6 or 7 kilograms. So that's it for the frame. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm happy with the weight. 6 and a bit kilograms over the other frame. So yeah, the factory bike's 190 something kilograms. So 6 to 7 kilograms over a bike that weight. Probably I would say just the exhaust silencers that went on the factory bike, the 4 of those probably weighs more than 6 kilograms, so those aren't going back on, as well as lots of other stuff, so there's no need for anyone to worry too much about the weight. So on the next video I'm going to put the forks and the wheels on it, put the engine back in and actually sit it on the floor, check it all sits how I want to sit, check the chain still fits and doesn't foul on anything, and yeah, then you'll actually get to see what it's going to look like as a bike. The tank I'm going to make out of aluminium, which I'm going to cut on the plasma table, which should be interesting. I've not cut any aluminium on that yet, so that should be good. That's going to be it for this one. Cheers for watching. See you on the next one.